1:30 or within seconds of 1:30. This is December 16th, 2025. This will be the Bismarck-Mandan Metropolitan Organization Policy Board meeting. We're in the Ed Bosch room, or Ed Bosch Freilich meeting room in Mandan City Hall. Before we start our meeting, though, we'll have the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If we can call the board to order, please, by calling roll.
Mayor Berglund.
Here.
Mayor Freilich.
Here.
Commissioner Bakken.
Here.
And Chair Schmitz.
Here. First item on our agenda is public comment. Public comment is restricted to the current agenda or prior policy board meeting agenda, excluding any public hearing items, because there will be separate hearing or comment on those. Anyone wish to speak, please come forward or online. I don't see anybody in the audience. I'm not hearing anyone online. I will close public comment. Next item is approval of the minutes, or review and possible approval of the minutes from the November 18th meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund.
Yes.
Mayor Freilich.
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken.
Yes.
And Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Item 5 is the 2025 ITSRA, I believe, final report, correct? Sharaja online.
Thank you, Chair. Can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
And I would like to share my screen. Please confirm if you can see my screen.
We can, yes.
Thank you. So good afternoon, honorable committee members. It's both a privilege and a pleasure to be here with you today. I'm excited to present the final report, which is included in your meeting packet, and respectfully request your approval for its adoption. Your insight and guidance have been instrumental throughout this process, and I look forward to discussing the results with you. As a quick recap, this slide displays the list of tasks and the corresponding timeline that I presented last month. And I'm pleased to share that the last task on preparing a comprehensive feedback for the draft report for our stakeholders was completed on schedule. And this structured approach actually ensured that we captured all the relevant feedback systematically and efficiently. Here you will see the table summarizing the feedback received from our 4 different service areas, and these responses were in direct reference to the draft report that I presented last month. Here you can see we have a lower number of feedback from the emergency side, but considering the participant in the maintenance and the traffic, we have a good representation on the feedback for the maintenance traffic, and obviously transit has 100% feedback from the stakeholder. And most of the feedbacks were based on some of the technical details. So I made sure that all those feedbacks have been recorded within the final report. And even before that recording, I went through a very brief discussion about each of those feedbacks. So those have been already included in the final report. And so now this is the time I would like to take this time to acknowledge the individuals listed on this slide and the next one for their feedback, expert guidelines, and valuable input that have been really pivotal to our progress. And I deeply appreciate their time, dedication, and collaboration throughout this project. with this slide outlines the structure of this of the report, and each chapter has been carefully organized for clarity and ease of references. So, chapter 1 and 2 talks about the project itself, what is the ITS architecture and all, and on chapter 2 it talked about we identified the region, the service boundary, and the timeline of the architecture update. Chapter 3 recognize all the stakeholders that we have discussed to update this ITS update. Chapter 4 talks about different elements. Chapter 5 and some appendix section talks about different services that have been that is available from the ITS context in this region, and how what kind of information flows are over there. And chapter 6 talks about different roles and responsibilities that goes for different stakeholders. Chapter 7 outlines some agreements that we identified in this region. Chapter 8, and again, it also have an appendix part which talks about different functional requirements, or what capabilities of those ITS elements that we are adopting in this region. And chapter 9 talks about the national communication standard, which is which is essential to ensure that the security of all these ITS elements prevail under the service concept. Based on the feedback that we have received from TAC over the time, we have included a couple new chapters. Those chapters are the project architecture and the conclusive remarks, but I have included the chapter 10 planning aspect over here because we have included the Arrive 2050, the Metropolitan long-term planning document, and we aligned our report with that one, and we identified all the performance metrics that we have adopted for this report. And also project architecture we have provided as a guideline for future users, or even the consultants and the contractors who will be working within this region. They will have a guideline on how to use this architecture when they are adopting any ITS projects in this region. And also in the conclusive remarks section, we provided some suggestions that would be that we identified beneficial for the development or for the future development of transportation in this region. And here you will find a final overview of the region covered in our report. And this comprehensive snapshot brings together some key data, like you can see the increase of number of stakeholders from 2021 to 2025, and the total number of service packages, although it looks like we have decreased them, but if you compare it with the 6 future status that we had in 2021, and we haven't seen that it has been at work yet, but we can see that all the planned status from 2021 has been completed. So this indicates that the region has made significant strides in executing its planned initiatives, particularly in relation to the ITS components. And obviously, it shows the commitment of all the stakeholders to completing these ITS elements, and it is really recommendable. Lastly, if the committee kindly approves the final report today, the next step will be to finalize the RADIT, which is a nationally identified tool for the ITS architecture update. And I already have that section ready. And based on the decision that we get today, we will update the website. And for any further discussion, I would like to request MPO Director Kim Rippel if she wants to add something to my presentation. And so that's all from my side as of now. And if you have any questions, I would be here to answer those.
Thank you very much, Sherry Jad. Appreciate the opportunity to provide the MPO's perspective on this. We are very satisfied with this update to the ITS regional architecture. And
Kim, you need to pull the mic in a little bit.
Is it on?
yes, am I not coming through?
Not real loud.
Okay, I'll get closer. How's that? All right, thank you very much. I seem to have a problem with volume. somehow. We would like to take this time to thank Dr. Hassan for providing our jurisdictional stakeholders with ample opportunity to engage in this project and to provide their input and their feedback. He listened and responded to their concerns regarding data sharing barriers that are created by cybersecurity measures, and also their concerns of ways to tie implemented projects to goals and objectives of the plan, such as in the creation of that new Chapter 11 within the report. So MPO staff does support TAC's unanimous vote yesterday to recommend approval of the final report for the 2025 Intelligent Transportation Services Regional Architecture.
Are there any questions? Hearing none, what are the wishes of the policy board?
I would move to approve the ITSRA final report.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer,
Yes.
Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
and Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Next, item 6, the 2025 Safety Policy Study, and Luke is in the room, so go ahead, sir.
All right, good afternoon. I will quickly share my screen. I'm going to go entire screen. That's not the right tab. Here we go. All right, Luke Champa, you've seen me a lot virtually. Thank you for letting me be here. Chair Schmitz and the policy board will be presenting the final report of the safety policy study. We'll go through quick acknowledgements and then give a quick overview of the final report with discussion and action at the end here. I do want to acknowledge, that we have been working on this study for some time, since late last year in 2024. It's hard to believe we're here at the end, but I did want to give a big shout out and thank you to your local technical planners and engineers, among others, that helped guide this study and get us to this point. From the consultant team, yours truly served as project manager. We partnered with the Emergent Strategies Group. Jolene is here with me today to present the public engagement summary, and then those listed, others at SRF and technical support. We'll dive right into the final report. There's a lot of content here, including 8 chapters. Chapter number 1 is an introduction to safety in the region and why the safety policy study. In particular, it sets up the national and statewide trends on safety that we're seeing, and then introduces the modern approach to traffic safety, which is called the National Roadway Safety Strategy and Safe System Approach. Chapter 2 provides a deeper dive into the historical crash trend summary, diving into the crash data itself. This chapter also lays out the vision and goal for the region as it relates to traffic safety, and this is accompanied by Appendix A, which is a technical memorandum of the full safety analysis as part of this report. We analyzed 5 years of crash data. I do want to note that we broke things out by mode, so it does include transit-related incidents and railroad incidents. But we are talking in those 5 years, 2020 through 2024, we're talking about 281 severe crashes. And I like to think of that as 281 at least lives changed, sometimes lost, or permanently impacted by traffic safety within the metropolitan planning area. The vision and goals are laid out here, the vision being a vision zero. So 0 traffic-related deaths and life-changing injuries on streets within the Bismarck-Mandan region. That's the vision. The goal is a 50% reduction in annual fatal and life-changing injury crashes by 2050. That would be 35 severe crashes or fewer by 2050. And we'll come back to that at the end. Chapter 3 provides an overview of safety practice. This looks at state, regional, and local plans and policies that pertain to safety and traffic safety in the region, really that solid foundation that this study builds upon. And then it also outlines the policy and process changes that this study forwards, including a Vision Zero, the establishment of a high injury network, which we'll discuss, among other things. This is accompanied by a technical memo, Appendix B, which overviews the studies, policies, and plans that we looked at. And for Chapter 4, public engagement, I'll kick it over to Jolene to present these slides.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Jolene Reek with the Emergent Strategies Group, and I was responsible for public outreach and engagement. We followed the MPO's public participation plan. Our goal was to have a broad way to solicit data from our community members. We had several different formats that we collected it. I want to give a shout out and thank you to the Mandan Progress Organization for allowing us to have a pop-up booth at their Touch a Truck event, and also the Earth Day activities over in Bismarck for those community conversations. Through those two events, we actually had quite a diverse amount of people participate and give us their feedback on safety. I always said, like at the Earth Day event, if you want to talk about safety, no better audience is moms toting around their little kids, hyped up on sugar and everything from that type of activity. And in fact, the Touch a Truck event, we actually not only collected input from people who live in our planning area, but also we had people who are visiting and attending that event as well. So it was nice to get people's perspectives who come from outside our community and their perceptions of safety. We also used focus groups. We talked to first responders, active transportation advocates. We had really great discussions there. Stakeholder interviews. The freight industry was really great to give us some good perceptions, and they have some best practices that I'll mention after a bit. We also reached out to the state's OHV manager to talk about those issues. And for the youth, we tried to get into the schools to have some face-to-face with students to talk about that. That occurred at the end of the school season. We weren't able to get in, but we were able to issue an online survey that they all participated in. So the key findings that we got out of that, of course, distracted driving was pretty much the most common thing that came out through this. In fact, law enforcement mentioned that they will actually pull up at a stoplight, have someone in a car right next to them, visibly on their phone, and they'll honk the horn at them and be like, hey, and then the person will kind of look at them and keep on their phone and honk it again and be like, put the phone down. So there's lots of things with distracted driving. Pedestrian and bicycle safety, these are things that we want to integrate earlier into people. So, starting at the grade school level, junior high, high school, when those people are most vulnerable. We talked about infrastructure. Of course, everybody has their favorite intersection or roadway to pick on, and we were able to collect that through the different things. The freight and commercial vehicle operations, one thing we had never thought about was when we have inclement weather, our truck drivers need safe and secure places to stop to get off our highways and our roadways. So the addition of additional truck stops further east of our planning area was seen as a very welcome change, and we talked about ways for that to occur within our planning area. The off-highway, I know, is probably a sore spot with some of you in the county. We brought those up, and then also micromobility. Not only talking about scooters, which we have kind of in the Bismarck area, but also e-bikes and people's perceptions of that. Some nice things were seasonal conditions and maintenance. Most people were very favorable about the work that your jurisdictions are doing and trying to get roads cleared, trails cleared very quickly. And then, of course, the education and enforcement component. Just trying to get into that school systems a little bit earlier was a common theme that we heard across the findings.
Thanks, Jolene. I'll keep things rolling. Chapter 5 overviews the data and analysis. This is setting up the methodology that we used for the crash analysis, and it introduces the high injury network. It also provides a demographic analysis, and this is tied to Appendix D, high injury network methodology. Chapter 6 dives into the high injury network results. This is broken out by mode, and what the high injury network is it is a corridor prioritization of severe crash locations. So it will identify, for example, 1 mile stretch of road where there may be a concentration of severe crashes, spread along that corridor. They may be at a single intersection, once you take a look at it, but it's taking a more holistic corridor approach to identifying some hot spots, if you will, for severe crashes. This is broken out by pedestrian, bicycle, motorcycle, automobile, or passenger vehicle. And there's also an all-mode high injury network. So just for another example, pedestrian high injury network identifies corridors in the Bismarck-Mandan MPA where the highest concentration of pedestrian-involved crashes are occurring. So it's starting to pinpoint to some specific locations and specific modes. This is accompanied by the high injury network one-pagers, Appendix E, which takes a look at each individual high injury network corridor. It maps out the crashes that are occurring and provides the characteristics that we analyzed of the street, of the crashes, of the adjacent land use to describe what's occurring at that location. Chapter 7 is the safety strategies and toolkit. This is one of the more robust chapters of the report. It starts off by identifying priority engineering strategies based on our safety analysis and high injury network. So, for example, vulnerable road users include bicyclists, pedestrians, and motorcyclists, listing out some specific engineering strategies to address those types of crashes. There's also intersection-related improvements, speeding, single vehicle runoff road, and impaired driving. And then there's 2 tables in Chapter 7 that list each safety countermeasure or engineering strategy. There's a rural for rural roads and an urban for urban roads. They're described. There's an estimate of cost provided and an estimated effectiveness or crash reduction expected after implementation. And then we do have the safe system hierarchy tier, which are shown on the left-hand side of the screen, 1 through 4. Each strategy is tagged with what it's intended to do there. There are also non-engineering strategies. Jolene, if you want to quick hop back in here.
So this addresses that driver behavioral thing through education, enforcement, and awareness. I think the biggest thing that we heard, again, I mentioned, was trying to target our youth to help them understand traffic and transportation safety at an earlier age. So that was really an important one. We just actually saw a press release yesterday where Century High School has brought in the first ever transportation safety program. So thank you to them to do that. Like I said, but we want to bring that to all of our public schools and our private schools to help doing that. The motorcycle safety and awareness, motorcyclists are disproportionately represented in the transit mode for high injury. So that's more of a helmet thing, and that's a group that we were unable to get into a room together to brainstorm ideas on that. And then some coordination with emergency services, how we file reports when there are injury crashes, and then also policy and legislative changes that you guys may want to help support either other agencies who may put forth some changing upcoming legislation in the state law or support throughout within the local community.
Thanks, Jolene. Other multimodal strategies, we pulled out specific strategies for transit and for at-grade railroad crossings. And then this is accompanied by Appendix F, which is the Safety Strategy Toolkit, which is a tool that local jurisdictions may use to start filtering these strategies. So on the right-hand side, on the right-hand page here, we start to apply these filters by clicking the corresponding button. And in this example, I'm going to click The street cross-section is urban. It has curb and gutter, underground utilities, and urban land use. Then on the left-hand page, it's going to ask, what is the location typology? I'm looking at a mid-block location away from an intersection, so I'm going to click segment. So it takes me to this table with urban segment strategies, and let's say I'm concerned about vehicular speed. So I'm going to click on that Tier 2 hierarchy, vehicle speeds, and it'll filter further on the left-hand side. So I can start to click on these specific strategies, or I can apply additional filter. I'm looking at a local neighborhood street. So what's appropriate for a low classification road? You see on the right-hand side, it narrows it down even more, and I'm going to select, finally, horizontal chicane. And for each countermeasure, both urban and rural, listed in Appendix F, a summary sheet is provided, which shows a picture of the engineering countermeasure. It provides the cost estimate, the purpose, and any special considerations. In this case, horizontal chicanes are a traffic calming strategy that should only be used on local and collector roadways. The effectiveness is 29% reduction of all crash severities and types, and then the tier is also listed again. Chapter 8 gets into implementation and the road to zero. This is a critical chapter describing, prioritized locations based on the high injury network and public comment and some of the key data points by mode. It also details prioritized implementation actions, not only infrastructure actions, but behavioral actions and growing safety culture within the Bismarck-Mandan MPO, and then explores potential funding opportunities. The cultural actions vary in their timeline. For example, a critical first step as part of this study is to commit or set that Vision Zero for the region. And there's long-term things such as establishing, eventually establish a specific multimodal traffic safety committee or subcommittee of TAC that is focused primarily on safety. We also list how the MPO will evaluate and track, the performance or the performance related to the vision and goal of this study. That's listed in this chapter as well as where this can be incorporated into the MPO's current processes, such as through performance measure 1, safety tracking, which is required by the federal government for the state and MPO, and then through the monitoring report, which will be updated annually. So those things are listed here. Implications of this study is there's 7 different eligibility components for the program Safe Streets and Roads for All, SS4A. And on the right-hand side, you'll see how those relate to this study. The biggest thing, or one of the last things that would lead to eligibility is a leadership commitment to that Vision Zero and goal of 50% reduction, which is listed here again. So the commitment involves, through a formal resolution, adoption of a Vision Zero and setting a 2050 goal. And we did a lot of research digging into this. It's really intended by the federal government to be a planning tool used to track the performance of safety for the MPO and evaluate how things are going. They do not list any repercussions for committing to the vision, setting the goal, and, for example, not meeting it. The high injury network is new and is referenced in implementation grant submittals, and then that toolkit will help guide decision making and project selection. So essentially, all the tools are within this plan for local jurisdictions to pursue SS4A, HSIP, and additional funding that impacts safety, to identify locations and potential strategies. And with that, I'll be quiet and open it up for any questions you may have off the bat. Otherwise, I have listed the potential actions for today.
Questions? So I have one, because
Yeah.
2050 is a long time out.
Yeah.
We're going to have more population, and to ask for a 50% reduction in serious accidents might be a bit of a stretch. If we have 50% more population, 50% more drivers, or 150% of what we're doing now, I mean, I don't know how you can even potentially reasonably attain that, since we probably don't have a significant number of right now.
Right. That's a great question. We did not factor population or traffic growth into the goal, and I think for a couple of reasons, primarily being that 50% reduction is based off of a 2021 peak of was it 70 or 71 severe crashes. For example, in 2024, I believe your severe crashes were at 46. So we wanted to set something that felt attainable, even with the growth. Although we didn't, calculate it into our formula for setting that. We also are seeing a lot of emerging technology in vehicles, in fleets, that could have a drastic, impact on safety. So we felt like the 50% was, yes, ambitious, but more realistic than, for example, setting a full, we want to get to zero by 2050.
I think zero would be unrealistic,
Unfortunately, I agree with that sentiment, yeah.
but I'm just, like, I realize our hands aren't tied, but we're
Right.
saying, I think it's a goal, given the city of Bismarck alone is growing at roughly 1,000 new residents a year. We're
Right.
going to have 1.5 times to maybe double the number of vehicles running around our community. That means your goal of 50% reduction, if we forecast it out, okay, what this is now, and
Yeah.
would make more sense to me, but that's just my accounting brain function.
And I do think, one thing we glossed over, Chair Schmitz, is that high injury network. We saw the all modes high injury network was 9% of the metropolitan planning area's system, the 9% of the streets. But it accounted for 74% of severe crashes. So I would just say we do remain optimistic that this can be done, especially with some focus on well-known, dangerous or severe crash locations.
Sure. That's just my comment. I don't.
Thank you. No, that's okay.
Go ahead, Commissioner Bakken.
Is the rationale behind this, kind of a little bit behind Vision Zero, is that setting up a good foundation for better practices is kind of the rationale going into reducing those numbers and then focusing in on some of the key areas that are high impact areas
That's
and improving
exactly
those?
right.
Okay.
Yep, that's exactly right. And kind of compiling a comprehensive or holistic
Build the
resource.
foundation and build
Yep.
off of that.
Yep, exactly.
Any other questions for Luke? Kim?
Thank you, Chair Schmitz. If I may, I would just like to take one moment on behalf of the entire MPO to thank Luke, Jolene, and the entire SRF staff and team for their considerable effort in developing a product that will really help to promote the priority of safety in our communities on a variety of levels for years to come. The Safety Countermeasure Toolkit created for use by our jurisdictions is a really intuitive and straightforward product that really gets to the heart of their request for a tool to assist in determining appropriate safety countermeasures. while the identification of the high injury network through this study and the leadership commitment actually equips us to pursue not only newer discretionary funding programs such as the Safe Streets and Roads for All grant, but also establish safety programs that are out there, such as the Highway Safety Improvement Program. So we're very happy with the outcome of this study, with the products that have been delivered to us at this point. And just to let you know that TAC did vote unanimously yesterday to recommend approval of the final report and also adoption of the leadership commitment. The MPO staff would support that and request the same of the policy board today. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, members? We have two actions. I think we need to take them separate. So,
And that would be at your discretion. TAC combined them into one action item.
okay, well, if we can do that, I guess it would be, that's fine if the policy board wants to do that. I guess it seems a little strange to me, but
I'd move to approve the safety policy study final report.
Second.
any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer. Yes. Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
and Chair Schmitz.
Yes. With regard to the leadership commitment,
I'd make a motion to adopt the leadership commitment resolution.
Second.
any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer. Yes. Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
and Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Next, item 7, the 2026 to 2029 Transportation Improvement Program amendments. Stephen.
Thank you, Chair. Give me just one moment. All right, so this is Exhibit C in your packets. This month, the MPO processed 5 amendments to the 2026 through 2029 Transportation Improvement Program. We advertised the amendments for the required 15-day public comment period. We did not receive comments, nor did we receive any comments during the public hearing held at yesterday's TAC meeting. They're pretty straightforward, simple amendments. The first amendment removes a project for the reconstruction of the 19th Street and Century Avenue turn lanes in Bismarck from the current TIP because DOT indicated the project is being funded in 2025, which puts it in the 25 through 28 TIP. The 3 amendments after this are adding new microservicing projects, 2 on I-94 and 1 on Bismarck Expressway. Those are DOT-led projects. And then finally, DOT has also requested we add a new project for right-of-way evaluation and preliminary engineering on Interstate Avenue. They're all pretty it's a very small scale project, $25,000 cost. So those are the 5 amendments that we have moved forward with to bring these RTIP into line with the new DOT STIP. And TAC recommended approval of those amendments as presented yesterday. Are there any questions?
Doesn't look like it.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer. Yes. Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
and Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Next, item 8, the fiscal 2026 Urban Rail Highway Crossing Safety Program projects. Stephen.
Thank you, Chair. This year we received 1 project from the City of Bismarck for the fiscal year 26 Urban Rail solicitation. We do not score these projects. We did determine the project was consistent with the goals of our current MTP. DOT's solicitation for this program is far less formal than their other grant programs. They do not require an application form. They are basically just soliciting for project concepts that they then move forward with or not at their discretion. So one note is that this year will be the last year in which urban rail projects that are awarded funding can be funded 100% federally. The new transportation bill will set new funding levels for this program going forward. So the project Bismarck submitted is for railroad panels at the Morrison Avenue crossing just west of Yagan Road. So there is a sidewalk project planned for calendar year 2027 east of the crossing on the south side of Morrison. So these new railroad panels added to the crossing would complete the sidewalk project at this location and ensure there's no gap in pedestrian infrastructure here. And there are illustrations of where the project would be located included in the packet. Are there any questions? TAC did recommend approval of the project, I should add.
Doesn't look like it.
Move to approve.
Second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer. Yes. Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
and Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Item 9 is the SFY 2026 Bismarck Transit 5339 and 5310 grant applications.
Thank you, Chair
Paulette.
Schmitz. The applications begin on page 27 in the packets. The NDOT has again this year has solicited for their state fiscal year 2027 sections 5339 and 5310 grant programs. Section 5339 is a bus and bus facilities program, and section 5310 is the enhanced mobility of seniors and individuals with disabilities program. Bismarck Transit is requesting approval to submit the grant applications for both of these programs. Exhibit F is Bismarck Transit's 5339 application. There they are applying for 2 fixed route buses and 1 facility cleaning machine. If awarded, the federal share would be $1,216,560. Transit would provide a local share of $215,040, totaling $1,431,600. And Exhibit G, scroll down here for a minute here, is their 5310 application. Right there. And they're applying again for the after-hours service, Sunday service, holiday service, early morning service, and the salary for their existing mobility manager position. The application also includes a request to purchase 4 new cutaway buses to replace existing paratransit vehicles that will have exceeded their FTA-defined useful life by the time of the grant award. There are 9 projects total for this application. If NDDOT approves all the projects, the total federal share would be $884,364, and Transit would provide a local share of $357,276, totaling $1,241,640. The application here is scalable, so NDDOT could be awarded any or all of the projects, could award any or all of the projects in this application. Both transit application programs will be presented at the Bismarck City Commission meeting this evening. Staff is seeking a recommendation for the approval of the 5339 and 5310 applications contingent upon the BCC approval. Yesterday, TAC did vote to approve and recommend approval for both applications as presented, contingent upon the Bismarck City Commission approval. Any questions?
Any questions? Okay. Given we're trying to see Bismarck Transit expand services, I think it's a good thing to support.
Well, they are replacement vehicles.
I understand that, but they're going to be a request for more money,
Right, right.
expanded services as well in time.
So the match comes completely from the city side? Or
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
The 2 cities, between their mill levies and their sales tax
Gotcha.
revenues, or whatever, or our general fund dollars. Correct, Commissioner?
I wasn't sure what the reserves for
Well-
transit look like, so.
Well, they have some reserves, but they've been eating into them pretty significantly, so actually
That
they have
seems
a
to be a thing lately.
they have a request to both commissions tonight to backfill their deficit from the sales tax that was passed.
Gotcha.
So what are your wishes, policy board members?
I would make a motion to approve the 5339 application.
How about the 5310?
Did you want them separate or together?
I think they can be together.
Okay, and the 5310 application.
Second.
Is there any,
And-
go ahead.
Contingent on Bismarck City Commission approval this evening?
Yes. And we have a second. Any discussion? Call roll, please.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes?
Commissioner Zachmeyer,
Yes.
Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
and Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Item 10 is the fiscal 30 urban regional applications. Kim?
Thank you, Chair Schmitz. Exhibit H in your packet starts on page 59, and that provides a summary for the FY30 Urban Regional Program, and I'll see if I can get us there real quick. And apparently not. Okay. I don't know if I'm in the wrong packet or what. I'll just scroll down very quickly. And while I'm scrolling down to hit that, I'll give you a little information about this program. For the fiscal year 30 Urban Regional Program, the MPO did receive a total of 4 applications. 4 of those were submitted to us by the City of Bismarck, and 1 was submitted by the City of Mandan. The MPO and its member jurisdictions met with representatives from the North Dakota Department of Transportation to discuss the FY30 regional program and the regional project priorities for the MPO area for fiscal year 30. The MPO staff had previously scored these projects against the goals and objectives of the Arrive 2050 MTP, and those were provided to the prioritization committee for their consideration, and they were also attached as part of this exhibit in the packet. So Exhibit H brings us to the summary and to the prioritized ranking of the projects as based on the discussion between the jurisdictions and the direction received from North Dakota DOT and the final consensus that was reached at that meeting. The number 1 ranking project, it was submitted by Mandan. It is a maintenance project for chip sealing on an asphalt reconstruction that was done in 2021, Old Red Trail or North Dakota Highway 1806. They are referencing the extents from milepost 71.69 to 75.50, and it's approximately 1.18 miles. The total cost is $104,987. They're asking for a federal participation of $83,990, and it is consistent with the MTP, as are all those projects that you see on the summary sheet. The second ranked project was submitted by Bismarck. It too is a maintenance project to include the asphalt overlay rehabilitation of the multi-use trail on the west side of State Street between Divide Avenue to Calgary Avenue. That does have an extent of approximately 5,700 linear feet. The total cost is projected to be $464,000, and the City of Bismarck is asking for $371,200 in federal participation. The third project submitted and ranked for priority was submitted by the City of Bismarck. This is an evaluation of stormwater mitigation to include either improvements or driver warning systems to mitigate the current deficiencies which result in flooding during large rain events at the 7th and 9th Street underpasses under the BNSF Railroad. The total federal cost of this project could be as high as $1.3 million, and so the City of Bismarck is asking for that federal match of $1 $6,040,000, and this is consistent with the MTP as well. The fourth ranking project was also a Bismarck submission for the replacement of citywide signs along US Highway 83, North Dakota Highway 810, 94 Business Loop, which are all on the regional highway system in the city. And the idea is to replace the signs that are non-compliant at this time. Total cost of this project would be estimated at $250,000, with $200,000 being provided as the federal portion. So with that, staff does recommend that the 4 submitted applications be considered and recommended for approval to be forwarded to North Dakota DOT for their fiscal year 30 funding consideration. And by the way, those applications are due to DOT by December 31st of the year. The policy board does have 3 options at this point. You can either approve with the acceptance of the recommended priority, or you can approve with the rejection of this recommended priority and reprioritize, or you can approve with the rejection of the recommended priority and send to North Dakota DOT with no prioritization. We have historically prioritized our regional transportation needs for North Dakota DOT. It helps them very much in their selection process, and so we would recommend at all costs forwarding to DOT with a prioritization. Any question on any of the projects? The project details were included as exhibits I through J in your packet in case you needed more information, but this was just the summary of them.
Any questions?
Move to approve as prioritized.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer. Yes. Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
and Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Next, item 11, the fiscal 30 urban roads applications. Kim.
All right, thank you very much, Chair Schmitz. Again, yes, this is the fiscal year 30 urban roads program that we're talking about, and the MPO only received 1 application for this particular program. It was received from the city of Bismarck. That was included in your packet, but we have included a bit of a summary for that in Exhibit M of your packet. Because it was the only project that was submitted, it has attained our #1 priority ranking for the region, and there's a brief description that will tell us a bit about this. It is a reconstruction type project. It is for concrete pavement and asphalt shoulder reconstruction along Main Avenue, beginning from the Memorial Highway Frame Barracks Road intersection, extending east to Washington Street. It would potentially include a roundabout installed at the Main and Rosser Avenue Bell Street intersection, and possible 4 to 3 lane reduction and addition of a new multi-use trail from Bell Street to Washington Street along that northern side. Also, it would include evaluation of appropriate rehabilitation or replacement for the grade-separated pedestrian crossing that currently extends from north to south across that West Main Avenue, and also landscaping considerations along the corridor. The proposed project is on a 1-mile stretch of Main Avenue. The rehab of this area of Main Avenue is identified in our Metropolitan Transportation Plan currently. The City of Bismarck estimates the total cost of this project if all components of the projects as listed are completed to be $7.1 million. However, they are only requesting at this time $5.2 million, which is only 73% of that total cost, whereby the urban roads program typically will match up to 80%. The reason that the City of Bismarck is only requesting that $5.2 million is because that is the authorized amount, or the amount of obligational authority that actually is available to us in this urban program. However, when we met to discuss our regional priorities with North Dakota DOT and our jurisdictions, DOT did indicate to us that it would be very helpful for them to know how much the City of Bismarck would require for this project in the event that additional federal funding became available. And they encouraged the city of Bismarck to apply up to the maximum 80%. So that is why on this summary sheet, you do see the total project cost remaining static at $7.1 million. However, they are also requesting up to an amount of $5,680,000 in the event that additional urban roads funding would become available, and that would allow North Dakota DOT to program those funds directly into that project and expedite that process. Again, this request is being made at the suggestion of North Dakota DOT. When we met, this was forwarded or recommended for the region's #1 priority in fiscal year 30. I'd be happy to answer any more questions. Otherwise, the policy board does have the same three approval options as were outlined with the urban regional. Approve as #1 priority, reject the prioritization. In this case, I don't know that you could come up with another one other than no priority. So I'll leave that to the discretion of the board. Any questions?
Commissioner Bakken.
What's the rationale for the lane reduction?
Currently, with the available right-of-way, if you can envision the way that the 4 lanes converge and start heading into West Main Avenue, where there are 3 lanes, right now there's a slip lane. So you have 2 eastbound lanes, and then you have 1 lane that automatically slides you into that eastbound lane. So that's taking up additional right-of-way. There is a foot trail on the north side in the dirt or in the grass on the north curb side of the roadway, and they would take that additional right-of-way and create a multi-use path on that north side.
So then I'm more concerned about the westbound then. Where would it all come to a head at the proposed roundabout then?
Yes, exactly. So that roundabout would really facilitate, #1, there's probably 3 real beneficial impacts from having a roundabout at that intersection. Right now, the geometry of that intersection is not good at all, neither for westbound nor for eastbound, or for people coming off and taking that Rosser Avenue exit. A lot of the times in the peak morning hours, there's a very lengthy queue that backs up all the way like to that pedestrian bridge. It's quite lengthy, and it creates some real safety issues. And so,
Heading east into Bismarck.
yes, exactly.
So it'd be 4 lanes out of the roundabout going to the west?
Going to the west, there would be 2 lanes. There would be 2 lanes coming in. One would take you directly into the roundabout. One would take you into West Main on that.
I think the answer was there's 2 lanes going west out of the roundabout.
2 lanes going west out of the roundabout. Yes.
I think that's what you were asking, isn't it, Commissioner? Okay.
My apologies.
The addition of the lane off of Rosser plus the 1 lane would
Yes, and in fact,
figure to 2 then.
let's see. They do, I think, provide some good indication of that on some of their graphics that they provided. That shows existing conditions right now. They show where the roundabout would be constructed. Let's see. This does show the queuing that happens in the AM mornings, the peak AM, I'm sorry. And then this will indicate your lane configuration coming in. You have the 2 lanes coming in from the west eastbound. One will take you right into the roundabout, and then one will bring you over to West Main Avenue. You also have your westbound lane coming out of West Main Avenue from City Center that will bring you into this roundabout, and then you can either obviously take the Rosser exit, or you can merge into that westbound traffic, which is 2 lanes.
Any further questions? What are your wishes?
I move to approve the urban roads application.
I could second.
All right, is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer. Yes. Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
No.
and Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Item 12, Covenant Partner Program Membership. Kim.
Thank you again, Chair Schmitz. I'm really going to try and get my packet pages figured out here. Exhibit O in your packet is the Memorandum of Agreement for the Big Sky Passenger Rail Authority Government Partner Program membership. This 2026 Government Partner Program membership was vetted through the MPO jurisdictions and approved for inclusion in the 2026 budget and work program with the adoption of the UPWP back in August. This memorandum of agreement details the roles and the responsibilities of the MPO and the participating jurisdictions. This MOA is identical to the one that was entered into for the 2025 GP membership. However, because the memorandum of agreement follows with the membership term, and the current membership term expires on December 30th, a new MOA must be signed for the 2026 membership as well. Staff is seeking approval of the MOA as presented, and TAC did recommend approval at their meeting yesterday. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call roll.
Mayor Berglund,
Yes.
Commissioner Zachmeyer. Yes. Mayor Freilich,
Yes.
Commissioner Bakken,
Yes.
and Chair Schmitz.
Yes. Item 13, the Farm P update. I'm not sure. Joel, is he online?
Good afternoon. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm going to go ahead and share screen here. I have a very quick little set of slides just to guide us through this update, which is brief. Let's see here. All right. Does everyone see this?
We do not see what I think you're trying to present.
Let me try that again. My apologies. It's always a little bit different with every platform. And
Try again, Joel. I think we got you.
okay, how about this time?
Okay, thank you.
There should be a title slide. Okay. To give a quick update of where we are right now, your packet shows that we are at 3% completion, so still very early in our process overall. And most of the work we have done to date reflects data collection, some initial organization of stakeholders and our steering committee. But we have had one meeting with the steering committee, and then significantly last week we had our first public outreach activities. One of which, unfortunately, we did have to cancel due to inclement weather. This was the same day. This was Tuesday of last week, and the same day that Mandan City Schools were closed. So we decided to err on the side of caution and follow suit. But staff, MPO staff, and our team are working on rescheduling that meeting in Mandan that was canceled probably to sometime in the first part of January. We are also in the middle of our early stages of technical work, and I'll talk about that a bit more in a second. That's going to be an ongoing activity. In terms of where we are in the overall project schedule, like I said, still fairly early in the process. We spent the first couple of months just getting kind of administrative structure worked out for how we would be doing the work, reporting back, setting up systems for file and data sharing so that our team could dive into the technical analysis. But this public outreach activity that we had last week will be the first of two kind of principal phases of our outreach, with another to come in the spring when we have more findings and results from the study work to share with the community. So we'll be looking at additional outreach then, and of course, but before that time, you'll have other updates on how the work is moving forward. I did want to take a moment, though, to share a little bit about the the public outreach activity itself, because we used a format that's not typical for some of these. These are usually, a presentation to an audience of people. Maybe you have some display boards around the room and it's more of an open house. But we structured this activity to be a little bit more participatory for the people who were there. Not only to try to make it fun, and a little bit more, engaging and enjoyable than these meetings might be sometimes on kind of technical topics like roadway plans that don't, factor into most people's daily thinking. But we also did this so that people could understand the different perspectives and the different points of decision-making processes that go into implementing plans like this, so that, maybe it's a little bit less mysterious as to why transportation, actions are taken, or why a road happens the way it does and where it does. So we had set up a scenario-based exercise that was intended to allow participants to move around the room and work in these different kinds of planning challenges that needed to be resolved. And each participant was to have a role that they were playing, representing a different agency or community perspective. They would be a concerned citizen, or a landowner, or a city engineer, or a DOT engineer. And in each case, there was a kind of problem to solve or a challenge to overcome, and they were supposed to work together to find consensus on that. Our turnout was small, probably a consequence of the weather of the week overall. It can be tough, when you have schools canceled and roads closed one day to get people out the next. But I will say, of our participants, they were very engaged and interested in this activity, and left with, really positive feedback for how they felt this was and what they had learned from it. You'll see in this picture here on the right, there's Mandan Commissioner Soberg there, who was very engaged in this, and shared with us after the workshop ended that he felt this was a very positive and helpful way to engage the community in a study like this. So we definitely look forward to bringing this back to Mandan sometime next month and setting up a similar structure, and look forward to similar opportunities to keep the community engaged in ways that are informative and hopefully kind of fun, that show that planning processes like this can really bring a lot of information to the community, and everyone has a part in them. So next steps beyond this are that we're moving into more detailed technical analysis, which is really taking a look at the existing fringe area roads plan and just doing kind of a second look through with various planning factors or technical features to understand basic feasibility and constructability of some of these connections. But this will be run through a more scenario-based, kind of land use-based process that we'll be sharing updates more on in coming months. We are also inaugurating 2 different outreach tools here. One of them is intended for the agencies, and we've already been using that to collect some of our technical data. But another tool is a public-facing kind of digital or spatial survey tool that lets people place points on maps and share with some guided prompts or types of comments they can make, particular challenges or opportunities they see, so that can help kind of augment the technical analysis to give us a community-grounded perspective in plan findings and later recommendations. So that's our update for now. Again, we're still pretty early in the process, but look forward to sharing some more detailed work outcomes with you in the coming months. And I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Are there any questions? Doesn't look like it. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Item 14, 2025 monitoring program update. Stephen?
Thank you, Chair. Really quickly, this will be the last update that we have for this project. So HDR provided MPO staff with training on the monitoring report document and data on December 2nd to help support us as we look to conduct future updates in-house. And final deliverables have been started to trickle in for this. We have most of them. I will be working with HDR yet this week to kind of finalize a couple of things. But we would like to thank the HDR team for a successful update, and we encourage everyone to visit our website. The final report is live and accessible for any of you or any of the public to view, and we have started to promote that on our social media and website. So, any questions?
Any questions? Okay, thank you. I think these are out of order, so I'm going to flip them because I think other business should come at the end. So we'll go to item 16's notice of the 2026 to 2027 UPWP administrative modification. Kim?
Thank you, Chair Schmitz. So this is an item that we talked about a couple of months ago, and it's notification of administrative modifications for core documents like our TIP and our UPWP. The TAC had indicated initially that they really don't care to have staff present on these particular items, and so last month we came to the boards with kind of a solution to that, in that we would include the items in the packets, but not present. And so we put that into the agenda beyond the other business, so as to just make it more for an informational purposes. Of course, it can always be called out by any of the board members for further discussion, but if it belongs before other business, we'd be happy to place it there for your reference. We just thought that maybe it provided less confusion as a discussion item if it were after other business, since it really isn't being presented for discussion unless called.
So I understand.
I don't know if that makes sense or not.
It does. I might consider it, maybe it could be on a consent agenda or be the alone consent agenda item.
Okay.
Or the minutes could even be part of a consent agenda. And we could take those two items as one motion. It's kind of how we handle it at the city commission level. So
Sure.
that way, if somebody wants to call it out, we can call it out.
Yes, and we could certainly make the change to our agenda format. We've not had the consent or regular agenda separation before, but I think that's certainly worth moving forward
Unless
with.
everybody else has, okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Is there any other business? Go ahead.
I actually have one very quick item. This board did approve last month at your meeting the 2026 contract for the UPWP between the North Dakota Department of Transportation and the Bismarck-Mandan MPO. That contract has been fully executed at this point, as of last Tuesday, in fact, and the majority of the funding for our 2026 work program has been authorized, so we are good to start work right away when we return on January 2nd. So just for your information.
Okay.
And Merry Christmas to all.
Yes, thank you. Happy holidays. We are adjourned.